Hi my friends, welcome to local time. It's the 28th of January 2022 now, so we're in midsummer and it's nice and hot, and today's come up quite nice. It's quite a beautiful day. We had pouring rain this morning. It's just still very wet seasony, like no wet season I've ever seen before actually in this area. It's been incredibly wet. We've had days of cloud and rain, but good to see the sun's out now so I can get some good shots for you. And yeah, this is how my papayas are going on the straw bales now on the 28th of January 2022. And yeah, it's about one more month of summer. March the 1st is autumn, the first day of autumn. So yeah, look at that one in particular. That's really like pumped out a nice clump of fruit for me there. Really happy about that. And yeah, the amount of fruit I'm getting has dropped now. Like in spring, I was telling you, I was getting like 2 or 3 or 4 fruit every day, all of spring. And now it's summer, the fruit hasn't been ripening up as fast. They've just been putting out new fruit. But I'm still probably averaging 3 or 4 fruit a week, which is quite good, and it's just about to change now. It's just going to start coming on hard and fast, I think, now. Because some of these new fruit that were setting in spring, see, all these fruit just set in spring. The flowers set, and I've pulled the first fruit off already, and then there's 2 more there. And I thought they would get bigger, but yeah, I can't quite reach up there properly to give you a good look at my hand, to give you some sort of scale. Just a sec, I'll find something to stand on. Yeah, nice bunch of fruit there. I wish they all grew like that. Not bad, hey? Yeah, and the first 2 fruit coming off. Well, I've already picked 1, 2 more to come. And these others will probably start ripening up soon too. So I suspect before long I'm going to be picking more fruit again. It's going to be coming on hard and fast again. See, these are bigger. These are a bigger fruit. I still can't really get near it. Not as many fruit on that tree, but bigger. Oh, I'll just get my breath back. Yeah, but everything's growing really well. Everything's just taking off, exceeding my expectations really. Doing better than I thought they would. But everything's well fed up this time. I fed things properly right at the beginning of spring when they needed it. And yeah, that mulch is rotting down again pretty quickly. It ideally needs another bale, another full bale added on top of that. The roots are getting exposed again, but they don't mind a bit of that. It doesn't bother them too much. And I've top dressed that with a little bit more dynamic lifter. It's time to give these some dolomite actually. time to top dress them with dolomite. And I'll show you a bit more about that, the dolomite, and how it really helps growth in this video. And there's the dragon fruit. They're putting out a bit of fruit. I got one solitary dragon fruit off this about 2 months ago, and it was delicious. It was the nicest dragon fruit I've ever got off this bush. It seems to be just improving in flavour as it gets older. But yeah, I think there's about 6 or 7 flowers coming on right now. The first couple have already opened. That one opened a couple of nights ago. That one opened last night. That one's probably going to open tonight. There's another one there that's opened a couple of nights ago. Yeah, they're all opening about now. So I got my bugs out. Hopefully my bugs are going to cross-pollinate them for me. There's the bags of them just sitting on the car there. As I back the car out, as you know. The car's usually sitting right in here. But when I put the car back in, those bags of rotting fruit are sitting directly under the dragon fruit. So hopefully the bugs will do the job for me. And that's my maricot cutting of the big Hawaiian gold. That's doing okay, I guess. Still hasn't given me fruit yet, but maybe soon. It seems to be a good spot for it there. It seems to be happy. Yeah, that's the big Hawaiian gold I got the cutting off. And it's doing well. It's pumping out fruit as it always does this time of year. See a lot of fruit coming on now that I'll be picking by late autumn and all through winter. I need to stake that again too. Yeah, as you can see here, and as you know if you see my other videos, I've got these 2 stakes here on star pickets and these steel bars to support it, because it just keeps wanting to grow horizontal. And I think that's because the flying fox is always, the fruit bats are always thrashing it. So yeah, I've got those 2, but I need to put a 3rd one in now. I need to put a 3rd one right next to the clump of fruit so it won't snap off. Need to do that really soon actually, because there's starting to be a bit of weight in that fruit to support it so it won't snap. And there's a new leader stem going in up there too. There's been a lot of new stems coming on. I'd like to turn that one into a leader stem, and if I can get high enough up the ladder, I might be able to support that branch, brace it. That's what I'll have to do. If I can't brace it, the flying foxes will just break it off. So, and this clump here, there's getting to be 1 or 2 leader stems there that it would be nice to brace them soon and just chop the other ones away. Just let a couple of stems grow there. And oh yeah, all the Madeira vine that was coming up over from the neighbours, that's all gone from there now. The neighbours have pulled it out, so that's really nice of them. Really glad they've done that. They've saved me a lot of work. So everything's growing uninhibited from the Madeira vine. Yeah, this wild one that was growing in front of the car, like it's right up against the bumper bar. I'm going to get some fruit off that soon, I think. It's trying to fruit. Well, there's one fruit there, and hopefully that'll hold. See, so it's grown quite a bit, hasn't it? Everything's grown quite well since spring. Everything's looking great. Yeah, these things here, these papaya here are just blasting. Going really well. There's 2 trees here that haven't fruited yet. But I think from what I'm beginning to discover, they could turn into the best trees by next year. That might be the variety. It's a bit slower to fruit, but when it comes on pretty good. So I'll try and leave them. So even though that's very tight along there, they're all doing okay, hey? Because it's just one line, I guess. You know, if you had them this thick, with row by row by row, side by side, it would be way too thick. Because it's just one line of papaya, they're kind of getting away with it, being in that close together. Oh yeah, and up there, that's my red dragon, my special red dragon seeds. That's the first of them. They need to be in the ground now, those red dragon. I've got about 7 there in 6-inch pots, and they really need to be in the ground now. So I hope I can get them planted soon. It's not easy though to prepare ground here in this jungle, but I'm hoping. I've got one in. I've got one in the ground so far, so that's the beginning, I guess. Yeah, and the dragon fruit are looking okay, aren't they? Putting out a lot of flowers. Hope they set. Really hope the insects do the job. The KJ Pinks, Custard Apple, looking healthy. It put out so many flowers in spring, but we just had so much rain and storms, so none of the flowers set. It just dropped lots and lots of flowers, unfortunately, and I've only got 5 fruit have set, and it's still throwing out the occasional flower. I'm still hoping I can get another few flowers to set, but so far no luck. I only seem to have 5, but they should be good fruit. And let's see, well that's a little bit less. I think I had 7 last year, didn't I? So 5 this year, a little less, a little disappointing. But I think the weather could be blamed, really. That's my guess. It was just too wet and stormy, and the flowers just didn't seem to set. The storms just seemed to blow all the flowers off. Yeah, there's my bags of fruit there, quite disgusting looking. A lot of flies there at the moment. And it shouldn't be there actually. Oh, I've just moved the car there, but it's too hot there. That'll kill some of the bugs. I don't really want to do that. I need those smaller bugs, those small little mini flies. They seem to be really good for pollinating my dragon fruit. But yeah, that's the KJ Pinks, Paxton Prolific. 4 fruit coming on. Still quite small. Going to be another couple of months at least before the fruit come on, before the fruit are ready to pick. One little tiny one there. Yeah, and it still keeps putting out the occasional flower like there, but just can't get any more to set, it seems. But I won't give up. You know, it's possible I could get another fruit or 2. Oh yeah, also up there I've got chilies. Just so I've got the sweet yellow chili, the long sweet yellow chili, and also the red bird's eye, super hot bird's eye chili growing there. In those 2 little what do they call those things? I've got more papayas. I've got more red dragons coming up. I don't need a heat bed now, it's hot enough to get the seeds up. So I just got them in those little mini hot houses. Keep a good temperature. I've got red dragons in there, and then also I've got a yellow Hawaiian papaya. It's almost identical to my Hawaiian gold, I think. Yeah, I don't think it's quite the same though, it is more yellow. I just couldn't, I wanted to get that Hawaiian gold because it's absolutely delicious. but the best I could find was these Hawaiian yellow seeds. So it still should be very close. They promise they're very sweet. And also they gave me as a gift, they gave me another seed called Red Candy. So I've got a few in there as well. And they can handle cooler conditions and more shade. So they could be quite interesting. I didn't buy them. Sandnez Farms just gave me them as a gift. So that's very nice of them. And nearly all those seeds came up. They don't need as much heat to sprout. And yeah, they're going to be interesting. And just so I got a few more red dragon seedlings, a few more chili bushes there, strawberries there, started to get a few strawberries coming on. Veggie garden here. Oh, it's getting quite sad now. I really need to expand. Been saying that for ages, haven't I? But still haven't expanded. I need more space for vegetables. Again, I'm still getting salads out of this every week. And we've got more parsley now. That parsley will get bigger in time. And that climbing spinach. I've got the normal climbing spinach and also the red. That's the red climbing spinach there. It's been quite good. Very vigorous. I just bought that at Bunnings just recently, that one. And the others are just from my own seeds. That's a very useful vegetable. Very versatile, space saving. Get a lot of greens out of it. And I don't know if you can see this, but there's a huge golden orb spiderweb here, which is good. I've just let it stay. Can we get the light right? There's a beautiful golden type webs actually, and they breed in colonies. There's a smaller one there. They're harmless. They make quite interesting pets actually. They're good to have around. A very beautiful spider. And like now's the time when you get grubs. You get those white moths that lay grubs in your vegetables. So having this big nest of spiders and spiderweb just above my garden is perfect, really. It's perfect. Because it's just keeping those moths out. Any moths come near this, they die. They get caught in that web. There we go, that's the golden orb spider. It's a beautiful spider. And no, he's not poisonous or anything. And they can get quite tame. When they get used to you being around, they become quite tame. I don't know if you can see, oh, you can see a bit there in the sunlight actually. They have beautiful golden webs. Yeah, and they build big colonies. Like there's lots of little babies in there. I'm not sure if you can see any of them, but yeah, there's a number of fairly big spiders. They do get twice as big as that though. They're still juveniles. And then there's a lot that are just very tiny that I don't know if you're going to be able to see on the on video, and I can't even see any myself. There's one that's bigger, but yeah, or they get much smaller. When they first hatch, they're not much bigger than the head of a match. And I've seen them build huge colonies, much bigger than this. Oh yeah, there's one of those little moths laying grubs. Damn thing. But yeah, those spider webs, the moths don't have much chance around here, around this area. They're really pushing their luck with that spider web. That's my mammy sapote again. Struggling, see it lost all that length there in winter. So yeah, it's much smaller now, but you know, it's enjoying this heat now. It's doing okay. My seedlings, KJ Pinks, are doing okay. They're all looking a bit thirsty right now because it's about 2 in the afternoon. I need a water. And yeah, I'll show you around the back. Yeah, the Hawaiian Gold, they're doing well. Everything's going really well. Well, pretty much. These are my red Pomelos that I raised from seed. From the biggest pomelo I've ever seen before in my life. The fruit was as big as a basketball. But they've sort of been getting savaged a bit by grubs. And again, it's too shady of a spot for them, especially this time of year. They hardly get any sun. They really would like to be repotted again now. Put into 10-inch pots and put somewhere with a lot more sun. This persimmon, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a persimmon now because I did plant some persimmon seeds. It's doing really well. It would just love to go into a bigger pot. It would really appreciate that if it went in a bigger pot. I'll show you around the back. It's just jungle around here now. Oh yeah, the soursops in the pots there. I'm just not sure what to do with these now, because I'm just not sure what's going to happen here at this house. I always planned to put them in the ground, but I'm not sure how much longer I'll be here. So it would be a waste to plant them and then have to move out. So my plan these days actually is to put them in bigger pots, get them out in a lot more sunlight, and just keep them in pots for a while. It's a pity they don't go in the ground, but just keep them in big pots for a while till I know what's going on here. Because Mum's very sick now. Mum's not well. And some of the family want to sell this house. So it's hard to know what the future will bring. My days could be numbered here. Yeah, that was that ladyfinger banana. That was not well. I was really lucky actually. It's just snapped. I had it braced. It hasn't been in the best of health, but it snapped. I'm really lucky. It's snapped, but it's just enough for the fruit to be edible. They're ripening up. I'll chop that out today actually. Chop that fruit out. Take it in the house so no critters can get it. But yeah, it's happy with that. It's done okay. And I'm glad I never got around to soaking this soil in permethrin again. I was thinking like that's why it needs a soak. There's still that banana weevil borer attacking the roots. And ideally it does need another soak in permethrin. But yeah, that permethrin works so well. It just saved these bananas. I've only given them one dose, and that was about a year ago. And ideally it needs another dose. And I may give it soon, but who knows, I may not too, because actually see this one. You can see there my best ladyfinger. It's looking really good. It's just thrown out fruit just the other day. Can you see that through all the growth? But it's putting out a nice big bunch of ladyfingers up there. It's a nice big tree. Seems to be in perfect health. Doesn't seem to be getting bothered much at all by the banana weevil borer. It's a nice big thick trunk. Nice big tall plant, and all the suckers around are looking healthy too. But yeah, those clumps, they were just so close to death a year ago because of the banana borer weevil, and I just gave it one dose of permethrin, a full bottle. You'll see those bottles in some of my other videos. A full bottle of permethrin in 9 litres of water. Put one watering can on those 2 clumps and just instantly saved them. Like within a month they're throwing up new suckers and just came back to life. There we go, there's a better view of the my newest bunch of bananas. So yeah, you know, ideally for the food it'd be best not to give them the permethrin. So I might hold off longer. That one dose has made a huge difference. And yeah, my Hawaiian gold daughter just doesn't want to die. Remember this one? And it got the stem rot. So this is a good example of how well that dolomite paste works at stopping stem rot. Because look how rotted out that stem was. But it's growing through it, it's getting over it. See, it was about a year ago I cleaned out some of that stem rot and painted the dolomite paste on it. And, you know, I thought it was going to die any moment. I thought odds were, you know, any day it was just going to shit itself overnight. But yeah, I've tied it up to brace it a bit. It's on a bit of an angle. And yeah, a year later, and it's still growing well. It's growing better than ever even, actually. I'm putting out a whole heap new fruit. See, I'll show you that wound a bit better. Give you a better look at it. Look at the wound in it. See, there's quite a hole in there. It's one whole side of this tree rotted out. One complete side from that stem rot. But I've kept it pasted with the dolomite paste. I gave it a good thick dose just recently. Dolomite paste, copper, oxychloride added to it, a tiny bit of boron, 1 teaspoon of boron, and maxicrop. Mixed in, make a paste out of that. You'll see me doing that in other videos. And that's survived. That looks like it's not going to die. It looks like it's going to get over it now. I'm thinking, it's still hard to be sure, but it's really beginning to seem to me, well it's lasted a year since I first applied the paste to the stem rod. And it still got worse at first, more the stem rotted away, but I've just kept it pasted. And now it seems there's no more rot and it's just growing out of it. So I'm not going to, remember I was saying I was going to cut it down anyway, because I didn't like the taste of it, and I was going to put red dragons in here. But I'm not going to do that now. I've changed my mind, changed of plans. It's going to stay, because it's an interesting experiment too, just to see if it'll live through it. I think it might. I think this might keep going for years if I'm lucky. We'll just have to see. And the fruit has got better too. The fruit is nice. The fruit is quite good. It's from seed of the Hawaiian Gold. It tastes nothing like the Hawaiian Gold, but it's still good. It's kind of tangy and sweet. The first couple I had that bitterness about them, but I haven't had a bitter one since. I've had a lot of very nice, tangy, sweet papayas with a flavour that I've never tasted in a papaya before. A really interesting flavour, hey? And it kind of grows on you. As I eat more, I get to like it more. And yeah, it's very yummy. And yeah, there's my Hawaiian Golds. Look how healthy they are. Remember how they were in winter, or at the beginning of spring when I showed you my last update. Well, now since I've fertilised them and mulched them and gave them permethrin for the fruit spotting bug, see, they are very healthy and pumping out the fruit. How's this one? pumping out the fruit, and yeah, some of these are going to start coming off soon, I think. Like that's perhaps nearly full size there. I hope it still gets a little bit bigger, but that wouldn't surprise me if some of these start ripening up soon. These fruit are still a little small. These two trees here were both, remember I was saying it was a seed I've been selectively breeding that has a really good taste. I felt they were the best flavour, but they weren't really heavy bearers. They didn't bear a lot of fruit. Well, that's kind of typical actually, that one there. There's only 3 or 4 fruit on it, and a few more coming on soon, but not many fruit. This one is starting to break out of the mould. It's putting out more fruit, so that's good. I really hope it does actually, because it is a little disappointing how little fruit those two trees and that strain gives me actually. Whereas this strain, slightly different, but it bears a lot more heavy. Even though every tree is different, there's still a lot of variation. But yeah, that was my most heavy one last year. Heavy bearer. Although the fruit was a little small, and that got thrashed by the fruit spotting bug. There's a fruit that needs to come off right now actually. It's got a lot of bites, but I've really got on top of that bug now. So, and there's a lot of fruit setting there. Hopefully that's going to come up really nice. And bigger fruit this time. It's a bigger tree, so bigger fruit. Oh yeah, and this soil, see how the mulch is almost gone. And you can see here there's so many worms in here. Here's a good example. That's a classic example of like the worm poop. Because as it gets dry, the worms go down. When it gets too wet, they all come up to the surface. So it's just constantly tilling the soil. And there's stacks of worms in this soil now. It's really healthy soil. You know, I started with just sand. It was virtually sand. But there's been so much mulch added to this, so much sugarcane mulch, that it's becoming a very nice soil. And ideally I could give this another couple of bags of sugarcane mulch. I would like to actually, just to try to push it to its maximum, get maximum growth, but they don't need it, and I'm not sure, I may not even be able to afford it. So you know, it's not detrimental now. They're doing well, but I could do more things to make them do better. And I'll just have to see how my budget goes. I would like to add another couple of bales of sugarcane mulch to this, another couple of bags of dynamic lifter. Oh yeah, that's another Hawaiian gold daughter that was almost dead last year from fruit spotting bug damage. But it's coming back quite well now and setting some fruit. I was going to let it grow bushy. It was kind of bushy at first, but then I changed my mind and pulled off the side branches, and I'm just going to let that one branch go up because it does want to get tall like this other one. It will get tall given a chance. So maybe this time round it's going to do okay. I've still never got a fruit off that. It just got hit too hard by the fruit spotting bug in its prime, and it's taken a year to get over it, so fingers crossed it'll make it this time. And yeah, this soil's really healthy, and you can see here actually, if you look closely, I've added dolomite. I added about 5 kilos of dolomite to this soil just the other day. Well, I've hardly ever had to water all through spring, most of the summer, because it's raining so much. So that's really rare for around here. It's been incredibly wet. But last week it dried out a little bit, so I gave it all a good deep soak with a hose, and then I put 5 kilo of dolomite on top and just watered that in a little bit. So I don't want to wash that in too deep. So so it's kind of just sitting in the first 6 inches, that dolomite. And yeah, it's time they got it. They really needed it, and that'll sweeten the soil up. And at the right times, it makes a huge difference for plant growth. And yeah, I've been thinking of doing a video just on that alone, actually. A really good way to get maximum growth out of whatever plants you're growing by switching between the dynamic lifter, hit them with the dynamic lifter, let that go for a while, then hit them with dolomite. Let that go for a while, then hit them with dynamic lifter again. And just keep going between the two. And you can get maximum growth. And I learnt that from some palm growers. Or gardeners say when you're forcing growth, when you're really trying to push your growth to grow maximum, it works well. Oh, I've got a bug on the screen, haven't I? Get off. Dang, get off. Damn thing. It really helps to, for maximum growth, is to push that switch between your dynamic lifter and the dolomite. As you find with the dynamic lifter, things get very green, they grow well, and then they almost get too green, and they kind of like stop growing. If you're really watching your growth, you'll notice this. Every time it rains, it boosts the growth. But actually, yeah, these now that I've dolomited, I can see that already actually. That growth is not so dark green. The dolomite has kind of yellowed the growth a little, and that helps them grow more. And yeah, I'll just tell you this story. I had a friend who had a European friend who was a very good, mostly grew rainforest trees. Oh, we still have that bug, go away. Mostly grew rainforest trees in northern New South Wales. And he used to say, green is dead. That's what he used to say, green is dead. And it's not 100% true, but it's kind of true. Especially for things like rainforest trees, is when things are nice dark green, they can often get to a stage where they're not really growing all that fast. And with rainforest trees in particular, when they're growing, when they're really blasting off, their growing tips are yellow, aren't they? That's a sign of fast, rapid growth. And sometimes they can be red and pink, but they're not green. And that's when they're growing fast. And with many other trees like these papayas, with palms, etc., again, you can get things healthy, they're nice dark green, but then they start really slowing down with growth. And that's when it's time to hit your soil with the dolomite and sweeten your soil up. Your soil's getting a bit too acid. And yeah, well, most of the growing roots are in the first 6 inches. That's why I'm not letting that dolomite go too deep yet. Just let it sit in that first 6 inches for as long as possible. And that sweetens the soil up and allows a lot of different nutrients. It makes them more available. Certain nutrients get locked up when your soil gets too acidy. It's getting too acidic from the fertilizer. And so yeah, you put the dolomite on, and then your leaves start going a bit yellow. But they have another blast of growth. They'll have a blast of growth. So you let them do that. Let them have that growth, let them have a blast, and yeah, just keep an eye on it. Then I'll get to a stage where you notice it's starting to get too yellow, and then growth slows down again. So that's when it's time to hit them with your dynamic lifter again. Hit them with your chicken manure pellets, and suddenly it'll green up, and then they'll have another blast. They'll start growing fast again on the chicken manure. You know what I mean? And you swing between the two. You know, at one stage the chicken manure will blast them off. They'll grow really quick, and then it slows down. So then it's time to use your dolomite, and that'll suddenly blast them along, and they'll grow quick, and then it starts to slow down again. So then when it slows down, then you hit them with your chicken manure, and you just swing between the two. And heavy feeding plants like palms, for instance, they're doing that regularly. They're just often every few weeks they're going from dynamic lifter to dolomite, dynamic lifter to dolomite, dynamic lifter to dolomite. And you can do the same with vegetables too. Oh, and, well, bananas, papayas, just about everything really. If you want to get maximum growth, maximum speed with your growth, it's a real good tip, hey? Swinging from dolomite to chicken manure to dolomite to chicken manure. And you just got to watch those leaves. As time goes on, you just get better at knowing what's going on in your soil and what's going on with the plant by looking at those leaves. Yeah, and actually, like, I put this dolomite down about a week ago, and for me, I can notice it's not as dark green, that tip there. It's yellowed off a little, which is good. It's good. And that'll make that tip grow faster. Yeah, so that European guy, you know, there's a lot of wisdom in what he says when he says green is dead. Because it is kind of dead. Well, it tends to be. It's healthy too. Like it's not an absolute truth, but there's a lot of fact in it. If you can find, yeah, your growing tips especially, they end up getting too dark green, and the growth slows right down. Anyway, yeah, I'd like to tell you more about that in the future. Maybe even just do a really short video to try and explain that better. Just swapping between dolomite and chicken manure. Dolomite, chicken manure. Or in my case, I use the Organic Life pellets. It's organically certified. It's mostly chicken manure, but it's got some blood and bone and seaweed and a few other goodies in it as well. Yeah, but so many fruits coming on, hey? And there's no sunlight gets through this canopy now. They are a bit too close together, really. So even these two are like leaning right over to try and get some sun, because of this big Hawaiian gold is just blocking out all the sun. But, you know, they're still doing okay. Yeah, you can see that dolomite better there. See, I'll just let that stay there for a while yet before I weigh, but then ideally, you know, in another 3 weeks or so, it would be nice to add more mulch and chicken manure actually. And also now it's time to add the sulfate of potash. It's time for that now, so these can set more flowers. The sulfate of potash is really good for flowering and fruiting, and it's organically certified. So yeah, ideally it'd be nice to add that very soon as well. But just for now, I'll just let this dolomite stay here. We'll just see what the rains do. I'm assuming the rains are going to wash it in deep before long. But I'll let that sit in the first 6 inches. They'll sweeten up all that soil and make the nutrients a lot more available, a whole range of different nutrients. See, like there's different nutrients available with different pH levels. So just swinging backwards and forwards a little bit between acid and alkaline. Not too far each way, just a little bit. And yeah, the plants really love it. They can grow really fast. Yeah, and how's this one? I wanted to show you this one. This was the one I was threatening to cut this tree down, remember? Look at it now. Because last year, it was a slow fruiter. Last year, most of these other trees fruited, but it didn't. But it was putting out big clusters of flowers that looked very male. It still is a bit up there, actually, the way it throws these clusters of flowers out. It looked very male. It was just covered in flowers and never set any fruit. And I was saying, if it doesn't fruit soon, I'm going to cut it down. And then within about a month of saying that, it put out one fruit. And then I was joking about that with you. And then I said, it's got to put out more fruit than that. And look at it now. It's my best tree of them all. Well, it is pretty well. It's become very promising. Got a lot of nice big fruit on it. And I suspect some of this fruit, this will be coming off soon too. Yeah, and this one, it's good that there's variation, because these two actually are both from the seed of the same fruit. So that's amazing, the variation, isn't it? But it's working to my advantage here, because this one, I'll be picking this one soon, I think. By autumn, probably at the latest, I think the fruit will start coming off. And yet this one is only really set. I've finished picking that. I've been picking that over spring. That's its last two older fruit. And now it's putting out these newer fruit. And right now, actually, now it's really setting fruit now. It's really getting into it. So most of this fruit won't be ready to eat till next spring, probably. Perhaps winter. But yeah, it's starting to... And that should put out a lot of fruit again, and bigger, I hope. This should perform quite well this year. And be a nice heavy bearing tree. But just a staggered time. Staggered, my fruit will be coming off at different times of the year, which is ideal, so I just have a continuous supply. Here's a better look at that Hawaiian gold that nearly died. But yeah, looking real promising now. In much better health. Setting a few fruit. And could still become a good tree. Ideally, it'd be nice to just chop all that jungle out just beside it there, give it more space. Oh yeah, you can see through here. I want to show you more of that. That's the Madeira vine. That's where that big ice cream bean was growing last year that I cut out. And look how wild it is in there. It's just terrible. I've got to get into that with a brush hook. Madeira vine everywhere, Madeira vine running up onto the roof. It's just out of control in there. That's why I wanted to plant the soursops and more papaya. And I still want to plant papaya in there, but I'm just not sure about planting soursops. Because it'd be a shame if I move. It'd be even more of a shame if the next people who take over just cut the trees down. Because that's always possible, isn't it? And that'd just be heartbreaking. I'd be more inclined to plant them if I knew the new owners weren't going to cut them down, but otherwise I'd rather give them to a good home. Sell them or even give them to a good home. And there's that old mango. It's doing better now. That's a very old tree. It just needs that Madeira vine off it, not strangling it, and that'll come quite good. Even though like it's small and old, but it just needs a bit of a chance, and it could bear a lot of nice Kensington Pride fruits. Yeah, and there's my other daughter of Hawaiian Gold, setting fruit like crazy. The fruit on that is absolutely delicious. Like no papaya I've ever tried before. They're sweet and it's got like a kind of citrusy tang about it. From the seed of an Hawaiian gold, but very different. I've said it before, it's kind of got complex flavours, because it's got a hint of a number of different types of papaya in it. And yeah, very delicious, very heavy bearer. Fruit bats love it. Got to really get that fruit off quick or the fruit bats will get it. Yeah, black sapote in there. Oh, again, it just so needs a chance. It's really, I so need to chop all this jungle back. I already have actually, but it needs to be chopped back more, because it just keeps wanting to grow in on the papayas. And that black sapote should be a good tree if it ever gets a chance. Ever get some space and keep the Madeira vine off it. I've got one fruit on it that I've found actually this year. Where is it? There. There it is. One black sapote fruit. I think there'd be a lot more if I could just give it a chance. So there's a lot of it there just getting smothered in Madeira vine. This mulberry is doing okay. Again, it needs clearing back, give it more space. Very delicious fruit on that mulberry. Just brought in by the birds. The seed just sprouted from birds. I didn't plant it, just growing wild. Again, if it just had a decent chance, it'd grow into a nice tree with very delicious fruit. Yeah, and look how everything's grown. All the trees are growing 4 or 5 feet. Put out lots of fruit. Doing real well. Very happy with how it's going here. See, and again, yeah, most of that mulch is rotted away. Ideally it would like another layer. Oh yeah, there's a, don't know if you can see that very well. That's a real bad wound there from the fruit spotting bug. I'm not sure what to do about that. I'm not sure if it's going to grow out of that. It might grow out of it. But I think it's going to keep that fruit stunted. That fruit may never amount to much because of that wound. And ideally it would like chopping off, I think, and a bucket put over it. But I'm just not sure. It's already put that fruit out. I don't know. Sometimes if you're not sure about things, it's best to do nothing. So, you know, maybe I want to paint some more dolomite around here. Maybe I'll just splash some dolomite on it. See how that fruit goes. And if it's not so good, well, maybe then I'll cut it back. Just cut that unhealthy growth off it. See, there's one of my Hawaiian gold fruits, or the daughter, that's come off this big tree. And it's been attacked by the flying foxes. I just wasn't quick enough to get it. It's virtually hollowed out. So yeah, I missed that one. Got to be quick with that tree, or the flying foxes will beat me every time. And here's my dolomite. That's a 5 kilo bag. After I finish videoing this, I'm going to spread this out. I might even show you in the video. But that 5 kilo, that'll go down on this bed. It's been raining, but it's still not getting through enough. So I'm going to, things are a little dry, so I'm going to give it a good hose. Do similar with what I did with that other bed actually. I give it a good soak with the hose, then spread the dolomite out, and then just wash that dolomite in 6 inches. Just give it a light wash, just so the dolomite goes in about 6 inches, and leave it there for as long as possible. So it'll just sit there and sweeten up that top 6 inches. And then, yeah, of course, eventually it'll wash down deeper and sweeten everything up down deeper. So try and keep it on the surface as long as possible. See a lot of fruit coming on there, hey? That's just delicious, that fruit. It's really good. It's so juicy. And yes, a slight citrusy tang, which is just delicious and sweet. Beautiful papaya. I'm just lucky with that. It's got a flavour like no papaya I've ever tasted before. Yeah, and these bananas, they're going quite well with that Madeira vine. There was parent plants there that should even be fruiting, but they've just completely strangled by the Madeira vine now. So maybe, hopefully, I'll be able to cut it back soon. See it there, look at the Madeira vine, they're all over the roof. Dang. You look at it, it's just so thick. Terrible damn stuff. Yeah, but I'll spread all that dolomite out. See, in these clumps too, they would have died if I didn't give them the permethrin. If I didn't water them with permethrin to kill the banana borer weevil. And I've only had to do that once. See, and look at that, that's a nice healthy sucker. I did want to give it a second dose, but I still haven't got around to it. I think one more dose would just sort of be just extra sure, you know. But it's amazing how just one dose has done the job. You know, and a year later, still looking very healthy. What else can I tell you about? Oh yeah, I've had to cut this back a few times. It just keeps wanting to grow in over on these trees. I accidentally, this is one of the sourshops I got in the ground. Doesn't get much sun at the moment, so it may not amount to much, but I accidentally almost snapped this tree in half a little while back when I was clearing all the overgrowth. Yeah, I gave it a real bad break, because it had just a pile of chopped down overgrowth on top of it, and I picked up the overgrowth to throw it away, clear it out, and I accidentally grabbed the trunk of this as well and almost snapped it clean in half. But I've braced it, I'll put it back up again. Where's the snap? That might even be the snap. Oh no. It's somewhere there. I have to look at it more closely later. But it survived, thank God. As soon as I snapped it, I kind of stuck it back together and taped that, tied that, a stick onto it to support it, to brace it, and it seems to have healed. So soon I may be able to just take that off, that string, and it'll be as good as gold. Survived. But yeah, I almost killed it. I almost killed the top half of it. It was a real bad break. Almost broken completely off. But it's just amazing what they can do. Just stuck it back together and tied it up, and it seems to be good. These papaya here are still a little small because they get shaded out too much when the growth comes over, when the jungle approaches in on them. But yeah, that's a rundown. That's pretty well covered everything, I think. Just how things are looking this summer. I'll just see how I go, but I might give you a look at how I do this dolomite. but hopefully you can work it out. Yeah, I'll just be spreading that 5 kilo on this. Oh, first I'm going to wet it. It is a bit dry. Give it a good deep soak with the hose. Spread that 5 kilo on it. And then just give it a light wet. Just to wash it in 6 inches or so. And then leave it. Leave it at that. You see my mint there? It's quite good. It's sort of spread around nicely. Even though it's very shady, but still hanging on, even though there's some grubs attacking it now. Yeah. So I wonder if I can show you a bit more of my new garden. I'll switch off for a moment. Okay, well it's the 29th today. The day's passed. And I've just given this soil a real good deep soak. Like I said I was going to do, because it needed it. It's very hot and rain hasn't been as heavy lately. We had a shower today even, actually this morning again. But it wasn't that much. We haven't had a real good deep soaking downpour for a few weeks. So this is all getting quite dry underneath. So yeah, I've watered this for about an hour. Just with the hose. Just giving it all a real good deep soak. And then now I'm going to add that dolomite lime. As I was telling you about, I've got 5 kilo there. Dolomite lime. And I'll just spread that around on top. And just water it into the first 6 inches. Like I was saying, and hopefully keep it on in that first 6 inches for a few weeks if possible, depending on the weather. But a few weeks would be nice. Okay. Okay, and there's the full 5 kilo of dolomite. Spread out as evenly as I can. And remember, I added all those eggshells to this soil, put it in under the mulch back in spring. That's a slow release calcium too, and alkalizing for the soil, but the eggshells are really slow release. Like actually I saw some just before. You could see some because most of the mulch was rotted away. Those eggshells haven't changed much in all these months actually. So they'll take years to rot down completely. Anyway, yeah. So there that is on the top. Now I'll just give it a light watering. Not too much. It's already had a real good long deep soak. So even if it doesn't rain, these won't need any more water. Even if there's no rain, these won't need any water for at least a couple of weeks, I think, depending on the weather. If it stays about how it is now, which is hot and fairly dry, at least a couple of weeks. But you know, I think the way things are going, there's a good chance we're going to get more rain, more heavy rain. Because that's all we've had. It's becoming a very safe guess to say we're going to get heavy rain, because that's all we've had since early spring. Just non-stop heavy rain. Yeah, mostly heavy. Yeah, and that's just about it. That sort of gets it down a few inches. Soaks it down a few inches. Yeah, about 6 inches, because that's where all the feeder roots are, aren't they? All the roots that are sucking up all the nutrients tend to only be about 6 inches down. The deeper roots are more looking for water, really. And those surface feeder roots, they're the ones eating the food. So yeah, that's about it. That's about all that's needed. Yeah, and hopefully that can stay there for a few weeks. Okay. And then yeah, in a few weeks it would be nice to top this up with some more sugarcane mulch and fertiliser to get optimum growth. I'm tempted to do it just to show you optimum growth, but I've got a tight budget and they don't really need it. You know, they're going to grow quite alright now, they're quite healthy. But then again, you know, optimum growth, that means more fruit too, so I'll just have to see how things go, how my budget goes. Okay my friends, thanks very much for watching and I hope to see you again. Bye for now. Hi my friends, it's the 20th of February 2022. There's only about 11 more days of summer left. And I just wanted to give you a quick look. It's dark, it's too dark as always. I just wanted to give you a quick look at these papaya, because I've got to pick some very soon. Got to pick some now before got a very persistent possum has been stealing my fruit, or trying to, biting into a few of them. But yeah, that one's been going really well. I've picked about 5 fruit off that already, so it's on. You know, these fruit, they set in spring, back in September, and now before the end of summer it's on, the fruit's coming on. I've picked about 5 fruit over the last 3 weeks, and now it's coming on even faster. So I think these others won't be far behind. So yeah, there's 3 fruit there I've probably got to pick today. So you can see there's another orange one through there on the other side. And that one, that's the ripest, that one, that's got to come off. That's got to come off. Or I don't know, maybe I'll risk the others for a little bit longer. And I've got one fruit here too that's got to come off. It's ripe enough too, and the possum will get it any moment. And I've already picked 1 fruit from there off that tree, so that's the second one. See, an interesting size, hey? Interesting size, not bad. Yeah, and I just top dressed this with 1 more bale of straw. So that's the 3rd bale of straw I've topped this mulch bed up with since spring. And I gave it a little bit more dynamic lift to that black stuff you can see there. And also this time I gave it a bit of phosphorus, organic phosphorus. Oh yeah, this is doing alright too, eh? This that wild one. I just gave that a bit of mulch and fert too. Yeah, and I just gave these some organic phosphorus too. This is a bird guano phosphorus. Certified organic. Yep, it's very expensive. I think it's about 12 bucks for these little bags. But it's good stuff. So really, this stuff, phosphorus, is good for your roots. It gives you good healthy roots. But also when you got good roots you get good flowering and fruit too. So it's well worth doing. Adding a bit of phosphorus, and soon I want to add a bit of potash as well. That's also good for flowering and fruiting. And a little bit of dolomite along here wouldn't hurt either. I haven't given this any dolomite for a while. But yeah, going quite good. I'm getting a bit of food now. It's all worthwhile. Dragon fruit, doing okay. Since I cut a fair bit of that away to let that papaya grow up through there. So I kind of haven't been getting as many fruit this year. But we'll see, there's a lot of new fruit coming on very soon. So that's going to be interesting. See how that goes. Where is it? Hey, getting so dark, isn't it? There. There's three just there. 3 new fruit coming on, and others in there as well. I better move quick. This is just a short little clip. It's getting dark very quickly. My big Hawaiian gold is pumping out the fruit again, and I've just added a 3rd bar. So I've got 3 steel bars there now. 1, 2, 3. To make sure that doesn't snap off. So that should make sure I'm not going to lose that. I'll get a lot of good fruit there in winter. Well, that starts coming on late autumn and all through winter. Actually, I'll show you more of that some other time. My custard apple, I did get 6 fruit, so that's okay. I thought I was going to get a lot more. We had so much rain and storms when it was flowering, so it turned out a little disappointing. But yeah, I've got 6 fruit on this tree, only 1 less than last year. Last year I had 7. So that's good. Getting bigger, still got a way to go. They should double in size yet. Red dragon papayas up there really need to go in the ground badly. Getting pot bound. A whole bunch of new red dragons there as well, and also some Hawaiian yellows and a giant orange candy. Here's strawberries, getting a few fruit coming on. This veggie garden, oh, it's really slowed down. It's very shady here now, extra shady, but really need more veggies. And I have planted more veggies too now finally. But yeah, I'll get a salad out of that tonight actually, is the plan. Oh, this custard apple, it's got into the ground, a seedling. It's rooted out of the pot, got into the ground. So that's kind of sad in a way. Well, that's going so well. But it's just proof of how bad all my other plants really need to go into bigger pots or in the ground. And they take off just like that one, you know. But I'm going to get that in a bigger pot very soon, any day. And also got a fairly big persimmon that got through into the ground. Let's go, see, that's really taken off too, so that's going into a bigger pot in another couple of days as well. Yeah. And these pomelos, yeah, they all really need to go into bigger pots. Oh, really short of breath. I've been working the last couple of hours, so struggling to talk a bit. Just low on oxygen for my bad lungs. That's the Suriname cherry. It's been quite consistent. I'll pick those tonight. Consistently giving me just a few fruit almost every day. And it's doing another big flowering. So it might give me a fairly big harvest again soon with some of the flowers. Finally cleared this area. Still a lot more work to do though. Getting those boards up. Putting boards up on the inside of the timber fence. Just to protect it more and make it more of a heat trap. Because I'm mostly growing tropicals in here. And it just protects these tropicals. Like there's me soursop there, guayabano, growing very well. That was my Christmas tree in 220, doing well. See, and there's 2 weeks in the end of winter, early spring, where there's just really bad cold winds come in from that direction, the southwest, and really damages everything, you know. So I want to try and stop that cold wind getting in as much as possible. And also it just helps more privacy as well. Just because there's cracks in the fence like so. You can see there quite wide cracks in the timber fence. So I'm putting that in to seal it right up. And I'll paint that soon. It should look quite nice. Yeah, there's some pots and potting mix I'm getting ready for those two, the bigger Custard Apple and Persimmon. And yeah, maybe I'm going to turn that into an area, a new area for my pots. So I badly need more ground for my pot plants, my potted trees. So yeah, the soursop's looking good, eh? And this is my only red dragon that's in the ground. But it's just about to take off now. It's been in the ground for 6 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks. 6 weeks, I think. So it's really getting its roots in now and taking off. And some new veggies I planted just yesterday. Well, just there, I planted those things, that basil and that, 6 odd weeks ago. That's nearly ready to start picking soon. And then I've planted perennial spinach and perennial lettuce, or perpetual is another word for it. That's the lettuce there. It doesn't go to seed as quick as normal lettuce. And same with that spinach. That's that stuff, that's very nice spinach. And you know, you can keep picking it for a lot longer than your average spinach. There's a bigger perennial spinach there actually. ready to start pulling some leaves off soon. Got some chilies in there too. Getting hard to see, isn't it? But yeah, that's my red dragon. That's going to take off now. And this is my new vegetable garden. And this took ages to prepare. Like this garden here. Again, because of all those live roots from that plant there. Well, it was the big hedge that used to be there. Been there more than 20 years. Yeah, and every root is living. So this garden, it had some beautiful soil. It's a nice sunny spot. Got some gorgeous red soil there. But it was just full of all those roots. And if I didn't get them out, it was just going to... My garden would just turn into those trees. These things would just be sprouting up everywhere in it. So I had to dig them out, and it was like roots on top of roots on top of roots. It was feet of just layers of roots. But I've got it all prepared now. I've got that prepared too. But that's where I want to get the bobcat through. So yeah, I'm still hoping I can get a bobcat in there to clear out the backyard. So I can't plant that yet. But yeah, I've finally got this planted. That papaya's been in about 4 months now. That was the first red dragon to go in. That went in at the right time actually. And exactly what the seed supplier told me. It was about 4 months that it flowered, but it was in a pot for a month. So almost exactly 3 months in the ground and it started putting out flowers. So it's going really well. That's the red dragon. And I finally got 2 more in. That went in about a month and a half ago. It's finally taking off. That one went just very recently. That's going to be a little bit longer before it gets going. And yeah, that first patch there, that veggie garden's been there a while now. And the spinach in there, and that water spinach is doing well, doing real well there. Well, the best I've ever grown it before. And yeah, this is performing well, this garden. Just growing in the sugarcane mulch, but it gets pretty good sun. It's one of the sunniest veggie gardens I've had in years. So yeah, I've got some chilli bushes there. A few chilies are starting to come on. Be picking some chilies soon from that bush there. A bit more of that climbing spinach, the Ceylon spinach. And yeah, I've been picking this garden quite hard because it grows fast here in the sun. Well, it's taken off already the last couple of weeks. It's really getting a go ahead. It's getting happy. Its roots are into that ground now. Yeah, I got these timber boards, a few more to put up along there just to seal this off a bit better and more privacy. And just makes it hotter, raise the temperature, particularly when those wicked westerlies come through. That just really damages plants. It's only 2 weeks of super cold weather, but it really hurts everything. Be interesting to see how this soursop goes actually, because it could lose all its leaves in those 2 weeks because it gets so cold and so bitter and horrible. Well, we'll see. Big macaranga up there. Norfolk Island pine I planted myself 20 years ago. Okay, that's all I can show you for now. Thanks for watching, my friends. Bye for now. Yeah, and that's those 3 papaya I just picked. I didn't want to risk it any longer. Yeah, very persistent possum. It's not a fruit bat this time, it's a possum. Has been getting the fruit from these trees, or just having a nip on it. If I'm not careful, I'll wake up one morning and about that much will be missing out of one of these. So yeah, I've risked it for long enough. Taken enough risk. That's about as ripe as I can get around here at the moment with that possum. So, and they will ripen up in a few more days now. It's quite hot, the weather's quite hot, so it won't take long for them to ripen up. And they're good. It's damn good food, hey. Much better than anything bought in the store. And still a little bit of fruit spotting bug damage. I probably should spray again for them. I haven't sprayed for at least a couple of months. But that doesn't bother me much. Those few bites, they won't affect the fruit at all, really. But it just wouldn't hurt to do it again, just for general maintenance. Give it another spray soon. Maybe in the next few weeks. Just to make sure it doesn't get any worse. But yeah. So I've got 3 today. It's coming on again. So over spring I was eating like 2 to 4 even papaya a day. This time's going to be even better, I think. There's bigger fruit, bigger and better fruit, and it's all coming on. Got some trees out the back there too, so it's going to save me a lot of money. I can just feast on papaya, which is really good for my health. Okay, my friends, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.